Tracy Hart with KHZTV.com, and I'm on location at Middle River Aviation. And I have to tell you, when I was growing up, I used to look at the birds flying, and I was so envious because I just thought how amazing it would feel to be up in the air, just being able to go wherever I wanted to go. And it wasn't until I was an adult that I realized that flying is something that everybody can do and that it's accessible to everyone. So I'm very excited to be here today at Middle River Aviation. I'm speaking to the owner, who is Kevin Walsh. Kevin, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you.
I think a lot of people think that flying is something that's either part of the Good Old Boys Network or that it's expensive, it takes a lot of time. People don't understand how easy and how accessible it is to everybody.
No, it really is, and that's the big misconception. I think for me, it's always been you had to know the secret handshake to get into the airport and learn how to fly, but that's not the case. You can go to any airport. There's a flight school everywhere. Every airport has one. We just happen to be a very large professional flight school at a very big airport in Baltimore. But, you know, you can learn how to fly in a farm field out in Kansas just as easy as you can learn how to fly at Martin State Airport.
When people think of pilots, they think that they're going to make it into a career. They don't think about that it could just be something that you do on the weekends, that it could be a hobby. And it's not an expensive hobby, that it's something that people can just go out there and just enjoy.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that, and there's two definite groups of people that learn to fly. One is the career student who are, you know, teenagers to early 20s that want to fly for a career. And the other group is guys that are, you know, in their late 30s, established, have kids, now have some time and some money on their hands and want to do it for fun. And the interesting part of this story is just last week we had a father and son come in. The son, being 15 years old, wants to learn how to fly for a career. The mother and father brought the son in, and he was riding a simulator, and I was sitting here talking to the parents the whole time while one of the instructors was in the simulator. And lo and behold, guess what? The father and son are both learning how to fly now at the same time, doing it together.
Growing up, my dad was a pilot, my grandfather's a pilot, my son has been training to be a pilot. It's something that it really gets into your blood, being up there in the air. And I think that just getting people in the door and getting them in an airplane for them to realize how exciting it is to actually be the one holding the stick and actually doing the fly-in. You know, once they're in there, they're hooked.
Tell people in jest, be careful, you go up there, it's addictive, you're not going to want to stop. You're going to want to learn how to fly and get your license at that point. The trick with aviation is just to get somebody in the plane for the first time. We get a lot of people that come out and they just want to go sightseeing. They want to, you know, go see their house from the air, that kind of thing. But I always tease them, be careful, you get up there and you're going to want to learn how to be a pilot.
People that are out there maybe that are interested in being a pilot, or they've always wanted to try it out. Are there qualifications, or are there certain things that they need to have or be able to do in order to even be able to get into the plane that first time?
No, not for the first time. Just to, you know, take a joy ride, a demo ride to see what it's like. You don't need anything. There are some things you need to be a pilot, some qualifications. One of them is you have to be able to read, write, and understand English. And after 9/11, there's more restrictions as far as TSA's involved in vetting foreign nationals if they want to learn how to fly. But for the most part, it's very easy. It's a very simple process. And you know, unless you have some serious medical conditions, there's no reason that you can't learn how to fly a plane.
Now, I grew up with planes, so I know this isn't the case. But, you know, there's a lot of women out there that are very interested in flying, but the misconception is that it's only a man's sport.
No, the saying is girls fly too. And I'll never forget when I first went to go get my student pilot's license, I went to Doc Little's office for my flight physical, and one of the nurses in there who was helping him with the exam was wearing a T-shirt that said girls fly too. So ever since then, that stuck with me.
Well, and I'm going to say, just throwing this out there, that I think women make better pilots, but that's just kind of my little 2 cents, you know. That's not an official term or anything. But now talk about Middle River Aviation here. You guys are relatively new to the area.
Well, yes and no. Middle River Aviation has been a flight school for over 30 years under various different names. Started off as RAM Air, and that was a gentleman by the name of Rich, who is now well in his 80s, who still works for me on the weekends, helping out, and he still flies. And then years after he started it, he sold it to Carol and Charlie, who named it Phoenix Aviation, and they ran it up at Baltimore a long time until that was closed. And then they moved it down here to Martin State, and then we bought it 2 years ago in May and renamed it Middle River. So Middle River is a new entity, but the flight school with the planes and the personnel and the people have, you know, they've been around for a long time.
Well, one of the things that I really love about Middle River Aviation is from a customer service standpoint, we're talking about your flight instructors, and you can tell their dedication and true enjoyment in flying, and they pass that on to their students.
Well, the adage in this industry is if it's not fun, don't do it. And nobody is going to spend money and time doing something that they don't enjoy. So we make flying fun, and it has to be. If it weren't, nobody would do it.
You also have a new addition, don't you, to the fleet here? A new rotary wing.
Yeah, we just added a helicopter, a Robinson R-22, and lately the trend has been towards flight training in helicopters. The commercial market is really moving that way. There's always a market for aviators, for pilots to fly 747s. The fleet is so understaffed right now. There's a huge demand for pilots, but there's even a bigger demand for helicopter pilots in the younger generation, a different niche of jobs for them to do.
Because there is not a close by place for them to train in helicopters.
No, the closest place, if you live in Baltimore or Hartford or Cecil County around here, if you want to go train, you'd have to go all the way out to Frederick. So we've decided to put a helicopter in here. There's a huge market for rotorcraft training, and we think we can capture a lot of that market that is being lost even to places out of state.
How would people go about coming in here and maybe taking a test fly?
Oh, all you have to do is give us a call, and our phone number's on our website. But give us a call and say, I want to take a demo ride. I want to see what it's all about. And for $99, we'll take you up for a half hour and teach you a little bit about flying the plane. We'll give you a half-hour ground before we even get you in the plane and teach you about how the aircraft operates. And then we'll put you in the pilot's seat, and the instructor will help you taxi out and help you take off. And once you're in the air, you're doing all the flying. He's going to teach you some maneuvers, and he's going to teach you the 4 basics of flying: how to fly the plane straight and level, how to turn, how to climb, and how to descend.
What about how do you jump out of the plane? Do they do that one?
We don't jump out of planes here. You're not allowed to jump out of my planes. That's all I can say.
Okay, so what's the website address?
Is www.middleriveraviation.com.
There you go, folks. I have to tell you, I have some personal experience with Middle River Aviation, and I highly, highly recommend it. So come on down, check out the information on their website. It is definitely going to be worth your time. Even if you're not interested in flying and maybe you know somebody that is, it would be a great opportunity to bring them down, pay for an hour for them, have them come in, get the ground school for a half hour, get up in the airplane, give it as a gift. It definitely is worth it. The freedom and the feeling of being up in the air, knowing that you are in control, it is 100% worth it. So love to see you up in the air. I'm Tracy Hart with KHZTV.com.